Hey guys, I want to welcome you and let you know how great it is to have you here for the Greater Purpose Podcast.
What's up? That's good.
Welcome to the Greater Purpose Podcast from the Cubs room.
The awesome Cubs room.
And you hear that cheering loud crowd in the background? Is that awesome or what? Now, you hear a cheering crowd, but what you don't hear and what you will not see, because there's an empty chair right here. Holden, do you see anyone in this chair?
That's the producer's chair, right?
That's the producer's chair, right? Exactly. See, people know. Stephen, they know you're not here. You're in Brazil? Really? No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing around, guys. Stephen Wright is the producer. He's an awesome guy. He's my inspiration. He's my coach. He keeps me focused on what I'm doing here. Sometimes it's really hard to keep me focused. So, but we do want to thank you for being here for the Greater Purpose Podcast, joining us. Make sure you subscribe so that you can be notified of any podcast or any information that we post. Something we are doing a little bit different is we have a promo which we'll post on the Friday before the Monday of the podcast. In the promo is different content.
Awesome.
So you can't watch the podcast and think you saw what was in the promo. You've got to watch the promo from now on. We changed that a little bit. Holden didn't know that, but now he knows. See? And yeah. So anyway, Holden, glad to have you here. Holden Clark.
Good to see you.
And if you'll just real quick, just tell us who you are.
Yeah. So I'm Holden Clark. I'm from Gastonia. Don't hold that against me.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, we're okay. But I'm a Gastonia native. Both sets of grandparents still live there. My wife, I've got 2 kids. My parents are back in the area now, but practice law here in Gaston County.
Yep.
Mostly do domestic work, but I got a special practice area in mental health.
Right.
That's where my passion has really been.
Yep. Heard that the other night.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing for the last decade.
Yeah. Yeah, and something that stood out the other night, so I was able to attend. This is not a political podcast, but we don't have any problem with people. I believe, and you agree, that Christians need to be involved politically, period.
Yes.
So we're not going to go into details on anything like that, but we were at your fundraiser the other night, and I did notice something about you, and we already talked about you being on the podcast, so this was just something to confirm, I guess, was the stepfather part.
Yes.
That you have taken, because when you first introduced them as we came into the room, these are my daughters. I have stepdaughters as well. And I introduced them as my daughters because they are my daughters. So I thought that was really cool. But that was a confirmation to me that we've got a godly man that's trying to step up to the plate and do what Christ wants him to do.
So those are my daughters just as much as they are his daughters.
Yep.
We have a great relationship.
Awesome.
Can't beat it. Can't beat it.
That's very good. So cool. All right, great. So so I didn't do any of the introductory stuff. We'll do that later. Don't get mad at me, Steven. Okay, but we'll do that later because we're already getting started. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So tell us first, we talked about this a little bit beforehand, but tell us when did you first, what was the first recognition? Was it a progression that you realized, hey, I need to step up. I need to start becoming a preface. We know we're not the godly men we're supposed to be. We get that. We're not there yet. We'll never be there until we get to glory, but we're supposed to be attempting that. So what was your recognition of that particular?
I was telling you this before we first started, but this was a hard question to answer, and because it required me to really think hard about who I am. It's about 14 years old, I think, is when I first got baptized, and I was going to church every time the doors were open. Life gets you sometimes.
Yeah.
And life will drag you back, and devil will sit on your shoulder and want you to do what he wants you to do. Yep. And so over the course of years, it got to where he was interfering with my life on a daily, consistent basis. Since I have become a father, though, that's when I knew I had to step up.
Yeah.
It was a radical change in my life whenever I married Andrea, and not only before I married her, but being there for the girls and having part of their lives. And there were several people that were super instrumental in that, but just getting back in church every single week and being there and surrounding myself with folks, I knew that that's what I wanted to bring to home and make sure that the girls had that and make sure that my family was steeped in the Bible and the blessings that we have. But also be the people that are out there sharing that.
Yep.
So
actually, that's cool.
It took a while, but we get around to it, right?
Well, that's okay. I tell my story a little bit. This is not about me. This is about you.
Sure.
But I was not saved until I was 26. I was an atheist.
Wow.
And then agnostic, and then got saved when I was 26. So I totally get exactly where you're coming from. Probably maybe even two more greater extremes. So, but anyway.
It's interesting. Like when you have these things going on in your life, and particularly when you're having successes in life,
yeah,
you feel like you are above God,
right,
and that you can do everything and anything without Him. But man, oh man, when you have those falls,
yeah. Satan is a liar, and you find out pretty quickly.
Very quickly,
if we're paying attention.
If we're paying attention,
if we're striving like we're supposed to be, then we pretty well we can see that when it happens. So, but so in that process, who, man or woman, men or women, who were your biggest inspirations as far as attempting and trying to be the godly man that you're trying to be today?
Oh, I think you saw him give the invocation at my event last week. Ricky Collins, I believe he's at Friendship Baptist now, but he was at City Church at that point. Ricky and I served on Alliance for Children and Youth Board.
Okay.
And Ricky just wrapped his arms around me and would take me to lunch and just slowly poured into my life.
Nice.
And was always encouraging me, reaching out to me, saying, hey, I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate where your heart's at. And what I found was that I was encouraged by the way that he presented himself and the way that he was willing to share what his beliefs were,
right,
and the way he spoke to folks. John Whitaker at the church also has been amazingly wonderful to me. And of course, Dickie Spargo has been great.
Oh, yeah.
Love Dickie.
Yep. He's spoken of very highly. So I've met him once or twice, but not had a chance to talk to him at length.
Amazing human. He's got 1,000 fires or irons in the fire.
Yeah.
There's always something on his mind. He's always doing some good in the community.
Right.
He's like the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So, yeah, I think that's how I ran across him, taking some pictures for a couple of events. All right. So based upon that, how do you feel like you're in this process of becoming the godly man that you're supposed to become, and you're surrounded by all this, and you're influenced by all this? How do you feel like you are most effective in affecting others, other men, other boys, to become godly men?
Very difficult for me to talk about myself, but I think the way that I have been most effective is just trying to share who I am and what I believe and the things that we ought to be doing for each other. I try to be as compassionate as possible. Try to be as real about life as possible too. Yeah. Because I think one of the hard things that we sometimes do as Christians is we get on our high horse, right? It's easy for us to say, we're up here, we're doing everything right, but in reality, we all have, like you said, we all have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Being able to humble myself and then be able to share with folks the experiences I've had and the things that I probably should have done better. If somebody can learn from the mistakes that I had, or learn from something that somebody's poured into me,
right?
I may not have the words, but I know that God's going to put them in my heart to share those.
Yeah, He will speak through you. Absolutely. So that's what I like about our breakfasts that we have every month.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, the No Agenda name came from this man right here. So, but that's what I like about the breakfast.
Absolutely.
That's how it started. That's how it's continuing. We're just chilling out. We're just hanging it. But we're pouring into each other's lives in different ways with no agenda. So, and Holden and I were standing in line as we were checking out one morning. I don't know, probably the second or third time we'd done it. We did a few in Stanley here, and then we moved it to Gastonia. And he goes, I kind of like it. Just there's no agenda. And I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. I like the name for that. So he's the one who coined that. So we appreciate that. So that's cool. See, you already affected a bunch of guys.
Look, that's the only thing I'm good at. I can use my words. That's about it.
That's it. So yeah, we got all these lawyers and all these politicians coming in here, but so far everybody's doing pretty good.
We're words.
Yeah, right. That's great. So all right. So now we're to the part where I have sent you some topics to choose from.
Yes.
And you chose, and now it's not called Fast Fives anymore. My wife has watched every podcast. Okay. And her professional opinion is to stop calling it the Fast Five. So it's not the Fast Five anymore. It's just 5 favorites.
5 favorites.
So, and
I picked the 5 men who have inspired me.
Okay, perfect. So who are those 5 men? And you can tell us as little or as much as you want to about those 5 men.
So we'll ramble them off real quick. And the fifth one was the hardest one because you kind of want to put so many people in there, right?
Yeah.
So my
Well,
dad.
you can fudge a little bit. We've had some guys do 6 or 7. Yes,
Okay.
if you need to. Yeah.
So my dad, both of my grandparents, my Uncle Bob, and I'll tell a specific story about him. And here's going to be the oddest one because my conservative beliefs.
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter.
Wow.
We'll get to Jimmy Carter in a minute.
Wait, we might have to edit that out.
This is a cool story about why I like Jimmy.
Okay.
So my dad, he didn't go to college until he was about in his 40s, and he got his degree in biblical science and read the Bible from front to back, took the test, understood everything, and then he started living it. And you started seeing it come out more in him. And, especially after he absorbed it from front to back, the way that he presented himself to others in the community, it was amazing. My grandfathers, both of them, have never met a stranger in their entire life, particularly on my dad's side. My grandfather can go anywhere in the world, and he will have at least 5 friends by the time he finishes that sitting. That's my baseball buddy also.
Oh, nice.
I've got to call him today and tell him that I'm taking him to see the Savannah Banana soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we got the world's hardest ticket.
We're going to Savannah on vacation, so we might have to stop down and see them. Yeah.
So he's such a wonderful person, and they grew up their house has been on the west end of Gastonia, so they have always just had a diverse group of friends, and it's always been godly people. His brother was a preacher over at Sparrow Springs Baptist before COVID finally took the church, and also Roy Dean passing away was kind of. But then also on my mom's side, my grandfather, he has been just a steady, wonderful human being. I'll tell a short story about him. And I think this is where my giving nature comes from. When we were kids, we would get our Christmas, and every year he would say, "All right, y'all got plenty. Y'all need to pick out 2 toys each that you're going to give to somebody else."
Oh, nice. That is cool.
Of course, he was trying to antagonize us a little bit, but it stuck with me.
He was teaching you something.
He was definitely teaching us something. Sure. It's so interesting that those little things in life stick around.
Nice.
My Uncle Bob. So my Uncle Bob, when I was little, he would take me to court with him. He's an attorney down in Florida and was state attorney.
Look what he did to you.
And look what he did to me. He poured it into me. But as he got older, he has really dove into his beliefs. Yeah. And to watch him share those and to watch him be such a lion for how he believes in the gospel, it makes it okay for someone like me. I read a book one time called "Can a Lawyer Be a Good Christian?" Oh, wow. Ooh, that one hit hard. Because it makes you really have to think about the things that we do for a living and square them with our beliefs. Yeah. And then the fifth one, that was the hardest one. Okay. My brother. Yeah. So my brother and I, he is just a wonderful example of what a father should be. He's a wonderful example. He's older. Okay. He's 17 months and 1 day. Wonderful example of what a husband should be, and the way that he pours into his family. It's something that I'm incredibly envious of. Nice. I want to be the father that he is. So I will never tell him that, and I hope he doesn't watch this podcast, so he never knows. Do not watch this. Never knows that I feel any type of love towards him. We don't know who your brother is. Yeah, he can't find out. I'm gonna tag him. Right. So he's just an awesome. Cool. Example. That's awesome. That's great. So what you didn't tell us the Jimmy Carter part though. So here's the Jimmy Carter part. All right. I got to hear this. Jimmy Carter. He's a great person, by the way. Jimmy Carter is an awesome president, terrible politician. Right. Oh, yeah, awful. Amazing human being. Yes, right. Jimmy Carter still, up until about 3 years ago, was still teaching Sunday school. Yes, I did know that. But what he did after his presidency was really what's remarkable about him. He still ate off paper plates and solo cups and started Habitat for Humanity. Yeah. And gave everything that he had ever worked for away for the sole purpose of doing what was on his Christian heart. Yeah. Terrible politician. Yeah. Amazing human being. But an example also, the reason I like him so much is that it's an example that we could have beliefs and go one way, but really the Lord calls us home. Yeah. And so when I was really thinking about that and why I love Jimmy Carter so much, it was that was the thought. It's
that's cool.
terrible politician.
Oh yeah, wow, that's pretty cool. That's neat. So all right, so we've had the first Democrat mentioned. It's okay, Holden. It's okay. All right. They cannot throw anything at you. No tomatoes.
No one can throw anything, but they can also say that I'm always honest.
That's right. That's right. There you go. Cool. All right, that's great. So that's the serious stuff. So now let's do. I'm going to before you tell us your sports story, because you have to give us a sports story, but you can't do that yet because this is the part my wife absolutely hates, but it's part of the shtick. So we have to do it. So shtick part number 1 is your parting gifts, and then the crowd goes wild. Your parting gifts. So one of your parting gifts is a bottle of Mr. Bill's STEM Education hand sanitizer. Oh,
right.
And Bill Ward Photography, though. Yeah, so she says I should say more about the photography than I do. I love my kids. So anyway, this is all yours. It's highly valuable, extremely, cheap. But anyway, whatever. It's
2 years ago.
I've got boxes of this stuff. I'm trying to get
2 years ago, liquid gold.
Yes. That's when I bought it. So Staples had this big deal sale on this. And you could get the label and the bottle for less than what you buy a bottle of that for, even now. It was great. It was awesome. But now I have 3 cases of it, so I can.
Amazon bought 3 jets just by selling this stuff.
Now the question is, what am I gonna do when I run out? Right. The next thing you will receive, which I will autograph before you leave, is an official Willie Ace baseball card. Yes, it is. It really is me. It is original, and I will autograph that before you leave so that you know that I really signed it. Oh, sorry. Oh, we didn't mention Willie Ace. Oh, his head's cut off. Dude, what happened? Here we go. Let's do that. One time I had him right there, and it focused in on him, so I don't know if I want to do that because we were not. It was Robert's. If you notice if you go back and watch it, we're a little out of focus, and the reason is because this bobblehead was in the middle. Anyway, but does that look like anybody you know?
And now my wife's going to be so mad because I've got to get one of those made of me.
Do it. You got to do it. So, yeah, absolutely. But I'm going to put him back down here so he doesn't get too in focus. But we'll autograph that card for you. And also, the most exciting thing is you get to choose a Lego superhero.
Oh, wow.
And you say, why a Lego superhero? And you say, because science, technology, engineering. You have to build it. It is not pre-built like mine. This is mine, which you cannot have. Mine is Iron Man. You cannot have Iron Man.
Okay.
He's all mine. But you can pick from, let's see who this is. That is Ant-Man. You can't have Flash. I got to put this aside. Jerry Whitlock was here last a couple weeks ago, and I promised him Flash. I had to get some new ones. This is, what's his name? Jarvis.
Okay.
This is Doctor Strange. This is Thor and Spider-Man. And I don't know how the Joker got in on Marvel, but anyway, you can have. So who would you like?
So I'm going to say that people will most likely say Doctor Strange fits the best for me.
All right.
Doctor Strange good. It is.
There he is. That is Doctor Strange, right? Yeah, that's Doctor Strange.
Awesome.
The wig and everything. Cool. All right, those are your parting gifts. So but you cannot part until you tell us your awesome and wonderful sports-related story.
You're going to know this one.
Okay. How?
I know, right?
Right.
So Bill and I are both Cubs fans.
Yes.
Now he is 10 times the Cubs fan that I am.
Well, we're all the same blood.
You remember when Kerry Wood announced that he was retiring, and it came out at 11 o'clock, and it was a 1 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Well, I remember watching the game, and they were trying to get him into pitch. He was relieving at that point. So they bring him into pitch, and watching the game, it's just powerful. He was one of the very first Cubs players that I just adored.
Yeah.
Because about the time that I became a Cubs fan, he was Kid K.
He was great. Yep.
So watching him pitch his final pitch was great and everything. That's a wonderful memory. Remember when he walked off the field, though, and his son came running from the dugout and jumped into his arms about third baseline? Yeah. There's no, goosey still.
Right.
Still get goosies thinking about that because it was such a human moment.
Nice.
And I always think about that being the coolest sports moment that I've ever seen. Is just these people that are stars being people.
Yes. Yeah, that's cool. That's and that ties into the greater purpose.
Exactly.
That is so cool. Man, a tie-in with the sports and the greater purpose. And it was not a Michael Jordan story. We've had 3 of those. But anyway, I know, right? Everybody's got a Michael Jordan story.
I mean, I could come up with 100 other Cubs stories. But
right. So
that one is my favorite Cubs moment.
That's very nice. Cool. Well, very good. So listen, I didn't do my advertising stuff. Stephen will get mad at me. Don't forget to check out the web. This is how you can check out everything about Mr. Bill's STEM, Bill Ward Photography, Greater Purpose, all that good stuff. Subscribe. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. We appreciate everybody that's watching, listening, following. And if you'll share this, we will be extremely grateful and blessed by you sharing it. Thank you so much, Holden, for being here.
Thank you.
All right, and God bless.
Appreciate it.
Take care.